What's up, guys? It's your girl Red Velvet from straight out of your mama's kitchen, doing what I do best, stirring it up, and you are now watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
You are watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, and we have an amazing show with nothing but an amazing guest. We have the founder of All Caribbean Wrestling, JB Cool. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I feel good, and I look even better.
Man, that's why I love Black people. So let's get into it. So I saw the IG page pop up probably about 6 months ago or so. And for people who don't know, I'm of Caribbean descent, so it always piques my interest when I see, oh, we're having wrestling matches in the Caribbean. I know WWE just had one in Puerto Rico, but it's not like, you're seeing one in Jamaica or Trinidad and stuff like that, which is what All Caribbean Wrestling is doing. So with that being said, let's take it all the way back. How did it come about?
Well, like I said, I have my parent company here in the States, Fighting Evolution Wrestling, based out of South Florida. Okay. And mainly South Florida. We do some stuff up North Florida, in Jacksonville area. And a lot of our clientele, especially in South Florida, in Miami, when we are training them at the school, because I'm also the head trainer. Yeah. You know a few of my students.
I
really
do.
Well. Oh, really well. I'm gonna name one. Red Velvet is one of my students. Paola Mayfield, who was on 90 Day Fiance, went to the NWA, one of my students. Layla Gray, one of my students.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Get a chance. So with that, the area just brings a bunch of diversity already automatically in Miami. Everybody's from somewhere. And a lot of times coming up in the business myself, trained professional wrestling started in 1999. Had my first TV contract in 2000 with a company called Urban Wrestling Alliance. And then did some indies, had some dark matches and stuff, but a lot of stuff was international work, a lot of international work. You're talking from Mexico, in Japan, Australia. Australia was the first time I met Dixie Carter. We were both on a magazine cover. Weird. Yeah, I get it to you. And so keeping those contacts and finding out that pro wrestling is more than what is presented in the States, especially on TV with, at that time, WWE, WCW, now defunct, and seeing that one of the largest fan bases, especially being in Miami, was especially big, the Haitian community, the Latin community, and they will be telling me about people that I knew about. It's just that so weird that they didn't really get that much public American promotion. Even back in the day when Ric Flair was on top of his game, he lost to a guy in the Dominican Republic. In the Dominican Republic named Jack Veneno. And Jack Veneno with the Dominican Republic, of course, had connections with the people in Puerto Rico. When Puerto Rico, you had Carlos Colon, and then you also had Savio Vegas. And, Savio Vega had a good run in WWE Los Boricos. And so it was just, man, why doesn't no one do any constant or episodic events in the Caribbean instead of these one-offs here and there? You'll hear something, but then there's nothing more. There's no follow-up. And so with most of my students being of Caribbean descent, coming from Miami, and just putting together a business plan, it became a no-brainer to like, you know what, let me expand into the Caribbean and let me see. Our first show that we did was in the Dominican Republic. Big turnout. Big turnout. I was like, wow, look at this. We did a couple more shows in Dominican Republic. Then we did a tour in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Big turnout, to the point where the original place we had booked, we had to cancel that. And then they put us in the stadium in Petchenville. And it was
wow.
It was so big that we had people that came up with pyro and fireworks, and it was wild. It was like, what? So then it was just like, okay, man, that's where it was. It was just seeing the love that the people had, and then being told, especially by the government, like, man, we would love to have this because we don't get it unless they stream it, because they don't have regular cable. They have to stream whatever comes on TV. So whatever at that time WWE is putting out, that's all they get unless they go to YouTube and see whatever's out there. And so I was like, oh, wow, man, I would love to do this and get in contacts with people in the Bahamas. A guy met me on a show we did in the Bahamas, one of these one-offs. And he wanted me to come back, and we made it work, and we did shows in the Bahamas. And so now I'm like, wait a minute. We did Haiti, Dominican Republic, and the Bahamas, and we're getting calls to go to Barbados, Panama, and all these places in the Caribbean. We're getting calls. And I'm like, man, I'll talk to my partner, one of my partners. You may know my partner. He's been around a long time, former WWE superstar, Pope Elijah Burke.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, I think this would be great to branch off and just focus on doing something where people would appreciate the business. There's no saturation. There's nobody there. Right? Location. And giving the people that opportunity of seeing live professional wrestling, because we can end up getting a studio, we could tape and send stuff on TV, on air, on YouTube. We could do that.
Right,
but to get them to actually see it live will be a blessing. And again, the next step after that was Trinidad. We got to Trinidad. We did a couple seminars. It was the first people was myself, Pope, and Red Velvet. And we went down there, and the people came out and they loved it, to the point where 3 months later, we ended up having our first show. We had about 1,500 people.
Wow.
And it was just like, yeah, I was just like, wow, look at this. They want us to come back. The ministry got on board. They started sponsoring us. And it was like, oh, man, look at this. And then we getting calls back from the other people. Hey, why are you not coming back? We're like, man, look, been on it, And then, and then we got
go on.
Yeah, and then we got the call to go to Jamaica. And the thing about Jamaica is I already knew a guy there. He used to wrestle in the old NWA by the name of the Jamaican Jammer Bobby Wells. He used to do a lot with the Haitian sensation Tyree Pride, if you know the name, Kevin Sullivan, all of them back there. And a little side note, in the Bahamas, back in the 80s, 90s, Kevin Sullivan and Tyree Pride would be equivalent to if you saw a match right now between, I don't know, I would say, like right now, if I had to say right now, it would be a match. If you saw a match between Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega. Right?
Oh, okay.
That's how big they were then in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean. Kevin Sullivan was really like this evil guy. And it was great, And so Bobby Wells, I told him what we're doing. He says, yeah, JB, I see everything you're doing. I was going to ask you. I was going to call you. I said, well, why are you waiting? What's the problem? And so, again, same thing. We spoke to the ministry, the government, put together a proposal. And then next thing you know, this past September, we had our first show. And again, we had about 400 or 500 people there. And we're getting ready to do our second show this week in Montego Bay.
Which is so that was been my question when I saw it on Instagram and it popped up. And shout out to Gerard. Gerard's going to be one of the commentators for you guys. So I'm really happy for him. But it was just kind of like, are people Because when you think of the Caribbean, you think of soccer and the track of it all. Those are kind of the two big sports. And I did grow up watching wrestling with my dad, who's from the islands. Okay. But it wasn't comparable to like the wrestling fans of today or what I hear people talk about their parents. It was more of like, it's a Sunday, wrestling came on in Toronto on Sunday in the evening. It was a family thing. You know, this is just what we did. But I also knew that on Sunday there wasn't much else on television. So I never really got to ask him about why he chose that. But that was the thing. I don't necessarily know if he was a fan like that. So I never really associated wrestling and the Caribbean. So when all Caribbean wrestling popped up, I'm like, are people really going to like buy into this? And now you're telling me there's so many different shows and stuff like that. Now it kind of goes back to wrestling on a whole. You know, the fact that now we're kind of getting this this renaissance of Black wrestlers. I just interviewed Janai Kai from MLW, and in interviewing her, I just realized in the last 3 years we had Jade Cargill as champion, we had Bianca as champion, we have Trin as champion, we have Janai Kai as champion, which is like, when you think of that in like, it's not like, oh, it was spread out over a 10-year period. It's like within the last 2 or 3 years, all these women have been champion who are Black. And when you think about that, people often think, and myself as well, was like, okay, well, there should be a space for Black wrestlers and stuff like that. But there's not a lot of us. And are we really supporting? Because at the end of the day, you can love whatever sport, but the people who are putting it on, if the money's not there, you can do whatever you want. Like, yes, I want to see this, but you're not supporting buying the merch or watching the television or all this other things. Then this person can't give you what you want because it costs money. So now that you're saying you're like, there's 1,500 people and 500, like that's, you know, that's way more. Cause I was like, how many people are actually coming?
Here's the deal about it. Here's the difference. Well, and I'm quite sure you probably go to local shows, right? So at a local show, you're going to pay what, $15-$20?
Yeah, it's probably a 15, 25. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, over internationally, it's 35-40.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah.
So, and it's not that trying to do it to price gouge, but it's the value of the talent that is coming. Because all my shows are produced with great production. So there's lighting and all of that, right? But I'm also valuing the talent that I'm bringing, because right now we put the value between myself and Pope to where now even Mark Henry is a part of our company.
I saw that. I was going to ask about that. How did that all happen?
We're going to get to that. So in all the shows that we have, we're bringing in quality talent that is equivalent to, if you go to a meet and greet or to another show, this is what you're already going to pay for. In addition to the ticket, or if you got some kind of VIP package to watch the show.
Okay.
So we're just putting it all in one price, and all of that comes with it. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that we rather do it right at the rip. So that way you're getting value. You're getting a fully produced show. Nobody's just coming out of a black curtain in the back. You got lighting, you got all this, you got digital screens and all that good stuff going on. And but that's exactly what attracted Mark, because Mark, he calls me up. Mind you, this is out of the blue. Well, really not out of the blue. And one of my referees who worked at WWE, Mark Harris, him and Justin King, my main referees, both used to work in the E. And it was like, hey man, Mark wants to talk with you. I said, Mark who? And in wrestling, you thinking, here comes the joke, here comes the punchline. I'm getting ready to talk to some Mark, right? That's what's going on. You're automatically on alert. You're like, okay, Mark, here we go, give it to me. Like, no, Mark Henry. I was like, yeah, whatever, give him my number. Kid you not, calls me that night. Hey, bro, what's up? It's Mark. Mark who? Henry. Talking to he gonna kill me. And I was just like, yeah. And then I talked to him. He had me talk to his wife, because the thing is, he initially went to Vince to pitch doing a Caribbean show, and Vince turned it down. And now where he's working, he pitched it to him. I'm like, we got your back. And so when he came on board, he came down to Trinidad, and the people went nuts. That's why I said we had like 1,500 people. They were like, oh my God, he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, there's Pope. Oh, wait a minute. There's the Bollywood boys. We know them too. And it was just like, and at the same time, it all lined up on Mark Henry, Pope, the Bollywood boys being Indians down in Trinidad. It just all lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And so they saw that we actually bringing something that they never thought they could realize would come live, because they're so used to having food or carnival, food type festivals, some kind of concert, but professional wrestling, we only see that on TV.
Right.
That's it. We're fans of, and of course, when they saw it, they asked for it's John Cena and Randy Orton coming. I'm like, man, we got to educate you guys.
I mean, that's often the case. They always go to the big, because everybody just thinks it's wrestling. It's all the same. It's like, no, there's levels to this, but it's still the fact that they know. That's a good thing.
Is that they know. And then some of them will tell you, well, yeah, I remember Pope when he used to be with ECW, and they'll start telling you. And the thing is, when you get this chance to see their faces when they're telling you their memories of watching it, and they know. You're not playing them like, okay, I'm gonna come in with this old school 80s format. They're gonna nah, that ain't gonna cut it. They know everybody, they know all the stories. Hell, I could bring somebody random and they'll probably telling you about certain pay-per-views just like that. And it's just like it's a big fan base, and once you know that, then it just, like I said, it just became a marriage made in heaven, and making the company and partnering with certain people on the ground from my personal experience of traveling, and just like, hey guys, you're going to be the ground people, and making it work that way.
Yeah, that's insane. So as far as, I guess, the Mark Henry of it all, is he partnered with you guys, or he just want to come down to kind of see what you guys are doing?
No, partnered with that guy. Partnered. No, he's on board. As a matter of fact, we're in the process of working on something that I got my fingers crossed. If it works, we'll come back to this conversation. I'm gonna say, see, remember I was trying to tell you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to it, and I promise you it's going to be big.
Okay.
Big.
So then the next question is, because unfortunately, I'm super proud of Gerard, him booking the gig. He's going to Jamaica. Unfortunately, I didn't get that invite, and it's okay.
Wait a minute.
How do we, the people who are not in Jamaica, how do we get to view this? When, where,
Easy.
all the things?
Well, first of all, let me answer that question. Then I'm gonna tell you my thought process. Not my thought process, the actual true facts stuff. Because people that talk to that know me, they know I start keeping it real, and you be like, "Oh my God, JB, you can't say that." But you can watch it on the website, allcaribbeanwrestling.com. It's right on the front page where it says ACW Live. The stream is already set and ready to go, so we're live streaming it.
Okay, so then you don't have to pay for it.
I'm giving it away. There it is. You get to hear it as exclusive. I'm giving it away. So I just hope the people in Jamaica don't hear that. Giving it away, and there's a reason behind it. Like I said, I'm gonna get to that. Or you can just go to the YouTube channel, All Caribbean Wrestling, and you'll see the stream is there too. It's public. Okay. It's not private. The reason for that is, and again, once you start learning what it is that the islands want in return, they're getting a full live professional wrestling show, something that they never imagined. In certain places they had it, but then it just fell off.
Right.
But you want the full backing of the island instead of you just getting little sponsorships here and there. And in other words, we get, flights and hotels, but we want the full backing, right? And the one thing all islands want is heads to beds.
Mm-hmm.
They want to bring people in. What can we do? So we put together our offer package. Number one, Mark Henry alone, because he sits on the Olympic board for weightlifting. He's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
He's currently on TV. So that alone, that strength brings in a lot of positivity. They say, okay, that opened the door to them. Like, okay, that actually opened more than the door.
Right.
So now it's like, well, what else can we do? And I gave them another plan. I said, here, this is the plan. Because the product that we're pushing in the Caribbean is more family oriented, because that's how most Caribbean folks are.
Mm-hmm.
And that okay, now they close the door behind me, they locked it, said nobody else can come in. Now we're talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so Jamaica wants to do a full day, July 6th of 2024 in Kingston. This is an exclusive now. I'm giving it to you. Don't nobody know, because I haven't been advertised. But July 6th, they want us to do a full day event, meaning from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. That includes all type of stuff, meet and greets, kids stuff, because they are already backing the full thing that we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And because of some of the names that are attached, of course, Mark Henry, RVD. I'm not telling you all the names. If you heard what I just said, and you heard me. And
okay.
But this is the only event in Jamaica that allows for both kids and adults to attend. They normally have is either kids or it's only adults. And so with them loving pro wrestling, and this is a family-oriented event, they've already cut the check. And this is not even the end of 2023 yet.
Nice.
And so along those lines, there's some people that, if you could read between the lines, that Mark is talking to about coming on, putting their brand on. And if that happens, but it opens up a different market, because the Caribbean market shares the same market with the Latin market.
Yeah.
And there's some people that want to expand into the Latin market that they are not currently in, even though they are on mainstream TV. Not saying no names, but if you can read between the lines, you understand where I'm going with that.
Okay.
And so that has opened up the door. That's the part where I said we'll come back to it, to telling you how big this thing is really has become, to the point where I myself have to bring on more help. And I don't mind. And I'm more of a, what are you doing now? Because the world changes. And I was just talking about this with my boys. It's like, there are kids younger, and I'm gonna say kids because I'm older than I look. There are kids that are making crazy videos and money and things that, like, man, I never imagined. And it's like, you know what?
There's some of them who are thinking outside the box that you even think that was even possible.
Right. And that was also the backing of All Caribbean Wrestlers. It's like, man, it's like, you know, having representation matters. So if I'm going to look at something and say, like, man, I want to be like that. Hey, characters, JB Cool, my guy, while everybody was in there, Hulk Hogan's, and nothing wrong with that, and Macho Man, and nothing wrong with that. I was in the Two Cold Scorpio, you know? And just knowing representation matters to some people. And part of my pitch to them was like, imagine being able to have a place where people in the Caribbean can come and train and grow from this. So making it not just a show, but something that is something that can be generational, something that can be a mainstay, because you guys already love it. You don't have to wait for the stream. You're growing it here. And that was part of the sell that they love, you know, and I basically just said, and I ended to imagine a Jamaican version of The Rock, you know, they were just like, oh my God, you said it, and we love you. And I was just like, yeah, okay, we're going to go with that.
So I guess the question is, and I may have missed it too. The question is, I'm like I referenced before, we had WWE who went to Puerto Rico, and oftentimes we do hear of some promotions going to I'm always here in Puerto Rico. That's kind of the main place that I hear most of the time. Why has, up until this point, and it's actually still because they haven't gone to those places, why has the Caribbean been left out? Like, is it more of, I think back to when you talk about Black movies and stuff like that, there was a period of time where there was no Black movies, and they're saying, oh, well, people don't want to see Black movies. It's not generating, nobody's coming to the box office. And then Black Panther comes out, and then, you know, the world loses their ish.
Well,
so
I could tell you, because I'm also in that's part of my other life. I do TV production. So I know what they look at. The model that they look at is what they are selling. Why reinvent the wheel?
Right.
If I'm making all this money here, why go somewhere to where this product is not going to sell? So imagine if you didn't have access. The thing is also about access. So everybody has access to YouTube or some kind of streaming platform or whatever. So just take that away for a second. But you heard about wrestling through the old school way, like you read about it in a paper or heard it on the radio, right? If I took away that and brought some of the stories and ideas of what they're selling to the market the current market that they're marketing to the Caribbean, it will not get over because it doesn't relate. It doesn't relate. So a big wig will say, why lose that and go to the Caribbean when I think that's small? But what they don't understand is the depth of the Caribbean and all the folks and where everyone comes from and the whole diaspora of that. And so they don't waste their time because why? The people that they're pushing do not look like the people that they're selling to in the Caribbean. You look at what just happened with Kofi when he won it. I don't know if you know, but the whole entire Caribbean celebrated. They right now just recently made a library in his name in Ghana.
Yeah, I saw that.
Laughing. Yeah. He went back. He had the full dress.
Yeah, I remember. I saw the pictures and everything. Okay, yeah.
And they did all that. Why? Because representation matters. And a lot of people don't know. It's like, if you notice, and it's still the old school type way where some of the talent, they don't even announce where they're really from. They announce, oh, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. But the point I'm making is, but they don't announce that in the TV that they're on. Right. Jade Cargill, her family's from Montego Bay.
Yeah, I know that.
But the point I'm making is like the mainstream will not allow them to identify with that too much. I mean, Kofi Kingston got to be from Jamaica, but even though they switched it and put him, and you know, they still to this day from Miami, Florida, The Rock, that's where we're going to sell you. So it's all about how they're going to sell the brand versus your background. We're going to sell, we're selling the brand first. The brand comes before your personal. But a lot of the athletes or mainstream pushed minority athletes have Caribbean background. And it's just crazy that in all these years, there's never really been a mainstream company to tour. Well, I don't want to say tour, but to have a mainstream product in the islands. And the only place that did it was Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico, Caribbean, and they broadcast throughout all the islands. And that's why those guys, Carlos Colon, Victor Javic, all those guys, they hit because they knew who they were.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
So it's very interesting. So with that being said, in your hopes, so we have the pay-per-view coming November 4th, right?
Yeah.
Which is a Saturday, November 4th. And now you have I'm sure you have a whole lineup set up for 2024. What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is actually being realized like daily. And why I'm saying that is because we were already approached by this Caribbean television network to produce a weekly show. Yeah. One of them being Television Jamaica, but they have these other Carib one. But they've all want to do an hour-long weekly programming. And I said to them, I'm like, man, that's where we want to be. The ultimate goal is actually having reinventing my school and putting a school in the Caribbean. Now the place is that's the problem. It's the where. It's the where. It's the where. However, that might not be a problem because of the backing and the stuff that we're getting to be able to bring people in. Because they told me they want a plan to where they asked how long does training normally take. I said that's an open-ended question because I still train to this day because you never stop learning. I said, but to officially get somebody to feel comfortable, probably up to a year. To make them feel comfortable to doing the basics. I said, but then there's more stuff, but a good year. And they want to start bringing people in, finding a place to house them, find a place for them to train. And I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you guys are moving faster than y'all reputation. So, this is not island time what you're talking. This is.
Yeah, it's not even talking about that.
Yeah. So that's one of the ultimate goals is to provide that platform to where they normally don't have the opportunity to get it, because that's the one thing that they want. Is like, if you guys have it there, why can't we have it here? I said, well, you can. I said, you can. I said, it's just a matter of the logistics. If you're going to have the school, people are going to want to come in and they're going to want to come in from all over. I said, I wouldn't want to do it in Dominican Republic because then they have a hard time letting the people that want to from Haiti come in.
Yeah, that's another story.
Because of their little problems, right?
Yeah.
So don't want to do it in Trinidad because then it's way over there. I said, more somewhere Central Caribbean. Jamaica looks like the place. Oh, why not Puerto Rico? Well, Puerto Rico has too much and Puerto Rico has too many rules. Too many. That's unnecessary. We were supposed to actually do a show. This show right here, November 4th, was originally booked at the beginning of the year to be in Puerto Rico. But yeah, Puerto Rico have some rules and certain people don't like certain people. And it's just like, you know what? We're going to reevaluate that. We'll come back to that another time.
Okay.
And so, but that's the ultimate goal, is like to have the TV, a weekly programming, in hopes to keep it going to where this generation that knows only what they see on TV versus the older generation who knows the old school stuff and just love wrestling, be something in the household again, just like your dad on Sunday. Hey, come sit and watch this and it's a family show. That's the ultimate goal.
Okay, so let's get into promoting the event. Who for November 4th? I mean, I know you posted it on social, but for people who are watching this, November 4th, who can we look forward to seeing all the things?
Oh man! So in our main event, we got the ACW champion, the Pope Elijah Burke, taking on up and comer from St. Lucia, the integrator Malik City, one half of tag team The Culture Inc.
Okay.
We also have PJ Black taking on Jay Rios. We got the big girl Vanessa Craven taking on the Cannibal Savannah Evans. Our ACW Women's Champ, which is Queen Aminata, but the other champ for my FEW is Maserati. She's going to be taking on Cassandra Golden. My girl Red Velvet's going to make an appearance. And then we have a couple local guys. Father Isaiah Bronson is going to be taking on one of my students, Bruce Cross. And this other guy named Leroy Jones taking on Tito Collada. Oh, and then the New Nation tag team. Yeah, the New Nation. Okay. And taking on the local Jamaican brothers called the Kentish Brothers.
Yeah. Boom. So there it is. You said there's several ways for people to watch it. So it's happening November 4th. What time?
Eastern time, because Jamaica is 1 hour back. But Eastern time or Jamaican time is going to be 6 o'clock. Eastern is going to be 7. So that means West Coast is going to be 4.
Okay. there it is. And there any other shows this year, or is that going to be the last show for the year?
We have another show this year, December 16th. We're combining it with man, I don't know if I want to say this, but you know what it is, what it is. It's a show that we call Reefer Mania. Whatever y'all just thought. Yes.
Okay.
Google it. Reefer Mania Miami. Google it. So December 16th in Miami. We're gonna have our end of the year show. That's where we usually, do our end of the year awards and accomplishments for everything that we've accomplished as a company. Mm-hmm. And we have a dinner the night before, then we have the show the next day. Oh yeah.
Okay. And then I guess the next question I have is for the people who's involved in All Caribbean, as far as the wrestlers, do they have to be of Caribbean descent and or I know you have the Bollywood boys, but there's a huge Indian population across the Caribbean. So right. Do the wrestlers have to be of Caribbean descent? Like eventually will we see like white folks in all the Caribbean?
We've had, like I said, that show we had in Trinidad. We had my boy, long time, Tom Latimer. Mm-hmm. That's my guy. Like, that dude, man, I'm surprised he's not on top of the world. And trust me, that dude can sell. We had Jamie Stanley from NWA. But yeah, definitely, it's not just for all people of Caribbean descent. It's for all people. It's just we have a focus on those of Caribbean descent because we are in the Caribbean and giving them something that they can look forward to from their own people, from their own countries, that, hey, we're not just track and field or cricket and soccer. We can also do this too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boom. Well, there it is. We'll let people know where they can find you and also find All Caribbean Wrestling.
Easy. Social media, Instagram, at All Caribbean Wrestling, allcaribbeanwrestling.com. You can send your emails for your bookings to allcaribbeanwrestling@gmail. And then that's about it. Easy.
And do you want people to find you too, or they'll find you through All Caribbean Wrestling?
No, they can find me through there. Of course, you can look me up at Showtime JB Cool, or at few_survive. So I'm there as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there it is. Well, thank you so much. I will definitely be watching. So thank you for coming. Definitely everybody go and check out All Caribbean Wrestling. It's going to be a great event. I mean, that lineup seems amazing. So, so much things to come for 2024, especially that event in Jamaica. I already can see some names. So we'll talk about it offline to confirm.
You let me know when you start recording. We can talk.
Thank you so much for coming on. You are watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, and we have an amazing show with another amazing guest. She is coming straight out of your mama's kitchen, AEW star. Please welcome Red Velvet. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I am good. I'm doing well. I'm sure the people who are watching is doing well too, because you are blessing us with this interview and on the screen, all the things. But let's get into this, because I was talking to JB today, and our fellow host Gerard Bonner is going down to Jamaica for All Caribbean Wrestling, and you're going to Jamaica too. Yes. I am not going to Jamaica, and that's fine. No hate, no shade. But let's talk about why you're going to Jamaica and what you'll be doing down there.
Well, everyone who knows the backstory, JB is my trainer. He trained me as well as La Rosa. So coming up, of course, always like to give back. And I always told him that if he had any shows available, I'd love to do them. I love to come in, help out. I love to see the new talent coming by and seeing what they can do. And if I can help in and get in there and get in with them, or, do other things to help the promotion. That's my way of giving back for just him training me and how far I've came, and just a little thank you to him. So I had the time, I had the calendar date open when he asked me, and I was like, Jamaica, like, I could just, who doesn't want to go to Jamaica? So I will be doing a meet and greet. I know that for sure. Maybe a little commentary, and the rest you have to tune in to see what else I have up my sleeve that I will be doing in Jamaica.
Okay. So, obviously the journalist in me has to ask, and, I know I may or may not get an answer, but, you said you might be doing some commentary. Is there a possibility in your packing, you're going to be packing something to wrestle in?
Absolutely. You always pack wrestling gear. You always pack wrestling gear. Card is always subject to change. Emergency happens. Things happen. The show must go on. Number one rule, you always pack your gear. If you're going to a wrestling event and your name is on the card of some sort and you wrestle, I say you always bring your wrestling gear. Yeah, I will be taking wrestling gear.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'll leave it at that. You guys definitely have to tune in this event. You could watch it on YouTube. You can go to the website, and we'll post that all in the description and all the things. But it's happening November 4th. A lot of great matches with All Caribbean Wrestling. This is what I was talking to JB about. And like, how important is it? Because when I saw the Instagram post, I was like, damn, like All Caribbean Wrestling, like, this is amazing. I want to see this. I love, the fact that it's embracing, my culture and seeing, because I didn't think wrestling was a big thing in the islands. And JB proved me wrong. He gave me some history and I was like, oh, damn, my bad. So for yourself, seeing that and seeing it go to different islands and seeing it, in Trinidad, Jamaica, stuff like that, like, what is the feeling behind that?
Well, firstly, I'm of Colombian descent. Yes, my mom and my dad were both born in Colombia. So I'm Afro-Latina, you would say, because I'm sure in my dad's background, there's African-American, of course. But I've actually been a part of helping JB in like bringing Caribbean wrestling to other Caribbean countries, because believe it or not, it wasn't until I went to all these shows with him that we realized that there really was wrestling there, but years ago. And it's almost like people have forgotten about it. So just him bringing it back, it's been so successful because everyone kind of like, in the older people, when they hear about it, they always show up to these shows because it was around during their time when they were kids. Right. And it just kind of disappeared. So I think they really appreciate him bringing it back. I actually went with him. It was myself. Let me speak correctly. It was JB, Pope, and myself. We went to Trinidad for the first time. We did a seminar. And everyone showed up to that seminar. They couldn't, some people even were honest in Trinidad and said that they showed up because they didn't believe that it was really it was wrestling that was going to go on. So I've been very fortunate enough with, to be in the same, while JB's been helping bring wrestling to the Caribbean. So we've done Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Bahamas, Trinidad, and now Jamaica. So I'm very fortunate to have been a part of that, and from the beginning. And he always tries to include me because, like I said, I always love to give back. And if I can go out and help even the female talent that's out there, there was a couple young girls the first time we went to Trinidad, and they were just so grateful for me to be there and share my story. And I still talk to some of them, and even to see them a couple shows back where I went to the last Trinidad show, they were there, just shows just even what an impact we made just off going there for the first time. And I'm excited about it. I'm always happy when he nails another country in another country, because it's just, we all love wrestling. That's like the goal and what ties us all together in the wrestling community. So the fact that he's doing that, and every time he invites me to somewhere new, I'm like, oh, it makes me more proud.
Nice. So is there any talks or future talks of a show happening in your home country?
There is a couple shows that have occurred. Have been spoken about. I've been asked in multiple occasions, because my dad was a professional boxer in Colombia. Him and his brother held, they both were one of the only brothers in Colombia to hold flyweight championships, both in their time of boxing. So they had a lot of importance there, and it is more special now to hopefully one day go and do not what he did, but what I love in the same country that brought him so much fame and helped him get out there. There's been talks, not with JB. That's maybe a conversation I should have with him on trying. There was a couple companies that tried to do it. Some things didn't tie in, and fortunately, they were working with some people I could not work with, so I was not able to do the show. But I'm hoping that maybe, maybe it's meant to be, and maybe with either All Caribbean Wrestling or FEW that can happen one day, because that I think would tie into just me and building my legacy and seeing what my dad did for us and our family, and just tying it all together would be a very emotional moment. I think everyone dreams to be able to wrestle it either in their home state or home country. So I hope so. I'll manifest it for sure.
Okay. I mean, yes. And I did hear another interview where you're talking about the manifestation and crystals and stuff like that. Is that sometimes, because I've done it as well, and I find with life, sometimes you ebb and flow as far as being very consistent, and sometimes it's like you can't necessarily get to it. Has that been something that's been consistent in your life, and how has it changed your perspective on things?
It's something that I think from the moment I started, I wouldn't say wrestling, because I don't think right when I started wrestling, I did a lot of like crystal stuff. It was more like right before I started AEW and my process throughout AEW where I really got into it. But what I really like about all that is that it's all energy. So there's times where like your life is going to be busy. And as long as you keep a mindset, then you don't always have to worry about like, oh my God, I didn't clean my crystals. Like something bad's going to happen. I don't ever think like that. I just think, okay, I'm having a bad day, or I'm having a day where I feel a little bit off. Like, okay, this is the day to meditate. I wish I could be very super consistent, wake up every day, meditate every day, but I'd be lying. And that's not in my nature to say, yeah, I do that. No, I don't do it every day. Some days are harder than others. There's days where we're all just existing and trying to exist. But I do just try my best to keep a positive mindset, because a positive mindset for me can change my day like that. I can hold on to something bad that's happened to me all day, and the day would just be, pardon my French, just shitty. But as soon as I'm like, I'm going to find the positive in this situation, because it's also crazy to think the more you just stare for the negatives, the more the negatives are there.
Yep.
I always wake up and say, I choose to see the world today with love and light, like just a lot of showings of love. And the more you ask for that, the more I think you see that. And I think that's something we lack in the world, just love. And more people threw out love, we wouldn't be where we're at. But that's another story for another day. I try to be as consistent as I can, but the mindset is what needs to be consistent. I try my best to keep the mindset right, because then everything else kind of aligns.
Okay. I like it. So you are going to Jamaica. This is a two-parter, but we'll start with the first part. I am a lover of West Indian food. You are going to one of the hubs as far as like West Indian food, the jerk chicken of it, all that stuff. Is there a food that you're looking forward to partaking in while you're there?
Well, when we went to Trinidad, the people that we were with were so kind to show us around, and we tasted some of their food. So I'm assuming JB's really good at like wanting to show us the culture when we go there. He always takes care of us. The hotels always take care of us. I just saw that the brochure was like all you can eat, all exclusive, and I was like, he thinks, oh, he's doing me a favor, but like he just always takes care of us. But I know that they will definitely take us out. So I'm just open to anything. Like jerk chicken. I like jerk chicken, but I love to taste a little bit of everything from every country, because it's so different. So yeah. I'm excited. I don't have a specific food. I'm willing to try anything. As I've gotten older now, I used to be very picky when I was younger, but now I just have my palate has changed, and I just have a different appreciation for food. And I watch a lot of like Gordon Ramsay and cooking channels now. So I'm really excited, mostly about the food. If you had to ask me what I was most excited about, first is the food, of course.
Did you have doubles or roti in Trinidad?
Yes, I did. Are those, we had.
They're like the little bread things with the curry in it.
Yes.
That is like, that is.
We had, I'm not sure if it was the same thing. I wouldn't even know how to explain it, but it was like, I can't say it was a tortilla because it wasn't. Yeah. It was like soft, and you like use it itself to scoop the meat.
Yeah, that's called roti. Yeah, it's called roti.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that is my everything. That is my life. Like that's, you know, if you say roti to me, you can literally kidnap me with that word. It's just the best thing ever. So talking about Jamaica, another wrestler who is Jamaican, you were part of her baddies crew, Jade Cargill. She has since moved over to WWE. Have you guys talked? Because I think the last time you were talking about it, everybody kind of assumed that she was going to be, you know, coming back to AEW in order to kind of get back her title, all the stuff. And then she kind of moved over to WWE. Not necessarily talking about that logistics, but have you guys talked since then as far as, you know,
any communication?
How you doing,
Absolutely. I've been gone, so have not been on television while she was continuing her streak and after she lost the belt and all that. But yes, once everything was official and I knew that she could talk about it, I went ahead and contacted her, congratulated her. We talked, and I just told her I'm happy for her. You know, at the end of the day, she chose to do what was best for her, and I don't know why anyone would think I'd have anything else to say or anything bad, because it's her future and she's allowed to make the choices that she wants. So she's a superstar. She wants to be a star. She is a star. And if that's what she thought was better for her, I'm happy for her. I let her know. I didn't really speak on it before when it was, you know, speculations and going around and stuff, because it's her privacy. So once everything was out in the open, I did send her a message and I wished her the best. And we've had some talks here and there now and stuff like that. But I'm happy for her. I really am.
Yeah. And that
she shocked the world.
Yeah, that part. And that speaks to the era of the Black woman wrestler. I was just interviewing Janai Kai, who is the featherweight champion for MLW, right? And then you had Jade Cargill, who was AEW champion at one point. We had Mercedes, you have Trin, you have Bianca, all within the last like 3 years, right? Which is, if you asked me that 7 years ago or even 5 years ago, there would have been no, like, if somebody said this is what's going to happen, this is what we're going to see across the wrestling kind of universe, I would say, yeah, there's no way. So you being a wrestler and seeing all this, like, how does that make you feel, and what do you think the possibilities are?
I think now wrestling has advanced so much that the possibilities are endless. You know, growing up, I watched Jackie and Jazz and Jacqueline and, you know, and Alicia Fox. I had just seen her at a signing the other day, and I went up to her and I was just like, thank you for everything that you did, because even me, like, watching them grow up gave us little girls hope that we could look like this and wrestle and go on. And now that's, to me, I hope to get to a point where that doesn't even matter, that doesn't dictate how someone's pushed or all, you know, because at the end of the day, we all share one goal, and that's to be the best of the best. And it's beautiful when we do get to see more African-American wrestlers succeed and stuff. So just even being a part of the faction, the baddies, it was all female Black African Americans. You know, I'm Afro Latina, but I'm still African American, and just even that, for having that in AEW was a good time, a good run. And I think that the possibilities are endless. I'm not ever going to let go of hope that there will always be better for us, just not even African American women, but women in general in wrestling. You know, it's gotten better, but it can always get even more better. So I'm hopeful for the future, of course.
And now, speaking of Afro Latina, I feel like some people, including myself sometimes, because you don't necessarily, sometimes it's very prevalent. It's like you can tell somebody's Afro Latina, right? And then sometimes you don't know, right? So coming from your position, how do you feel the representation of Afro Latinas is being presented across the wrestling universe?
I think it's hard because sometimes I feel there's just so much and so many individuals that are not just Afro-Latina, but just mixed in general. So it's like, I always feel like I'm stuck because I have to represent, you know, the Latinos, because both my parents are Latinos, but obviously there has to be some sort of African-American in my family trail if I came out, you know, dark skinned. So it's a little hard because I did not grow up, you know, I don't even know to say this because I don't want to stereotype, but I didn't grow up familiar with fried chicken and collard greens because I grew up in a Latino home. So I was eating arepa. So it's a little hard sometimes because it's almost like, you know, if you don't represent one, then one group wants to get upset and or feel like you should, you know, but it's hard. I think I strive to always represent both because there's not a lot of Afro Latinas. You know, whenever I win a title, I hope to be the first Afro Latina because I am Afro and I am Colombian, full Colombian, and you know we don't have a Colombian champion in AEW at the moment, and I could say around the world there is some. I'm sure there's around the world. I mean, just like television perspective. But you know, we do have some Latina women as well over at the WWE and stuff like that. So it's only getting better. I just want to give more awareness to people that Latinos aren't always Mexicans. And it's not a knock to Mexico. It's not. It's just for people to educate themselves more and know that Latinos is more than Mexico. There's Colombia. There's so many more countries. So that's the only thing I wish other people would see. And sometimes it's hard because I always say I don't fit in. I blend in so much sometimes, and I don't ever really speak Spanish when I'm at television unless I'm talking with Ty or Thunder Rosa or people that know that I'm Hispanic from both my parents. So it's like I always just feel like I just say I'm unique. I don't ever fit in anywhere really. I'm a little bit of here, a little bit of there. So you know, I'm happy with it. I'm not, you know, it happens.
It speaks to the great thing, because I often feel like that too, being of West Indian descent, but growing up in Canada, but now living in America. It's a very different. My experience growing up was totally different, and you know that's a whole nother thing. But like I definitely get it, because sometimes it's kind of like like people assume. Like literally a friend the other day, it's like, nah, I thought you was from. I was like, nah, I'm not. And then he said, oh, that makes a lot of sense in how you perceive certain things. So the uniqueness.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from, because my friends that know me laugh. So to the outside world, people just think I'm Black, right? So then I speak Spanish somewhere and people's eyes pop up because they had no idea I was Hispanic. So when they ask me where I'm from and I say I'm Hispanic, then they say, oh, I would have assumed maybe like, you know, Cuban or Dominican. And then I've had multiple people, which I never knew until I really looked in on it. I've had multiple people stop me, per like 5+ people in a good span of a time, and ask me if I was Ethiopian. So like, you know, it's always like, I always laugh as well, because my friends that knew how I grew up in Miami in a Latino home. It doesn't get any more, I feel like, Latin than that. Like, live in Miami where it's like a pool of different, not only just different Hispanics, but you see everything in Miami. So growing up like that, sometimes I say certain things in a certain way that my friends, they just laugh because they thought I grew up Black, but no, I grew up in a Latina home. So one word would be, I went to a restaurant to eat once and I asked the waiter if he had a sauce that was more tangy. And my boyfriend, he's from Texas, so he's super country, grew up, you know, country. He just looks at me, and then the waiter looks at me, and they all look confused. And then I look confused. And my boyfriend looks at me, and he's like, you mean tangy, right? Is that the word, tangy?
Yeah,
tangy.
Tangy, yeah, tangy.
Tangy. And I'm like, tangy? That doesn't sound like that's what the word would sound like. But I went around saying tangy, and he's like, no, it's tangy. But even just different things, the way I say them, you know, will let somebody know. But it's just kind of an inside joke with my friends that know that I'm Hispanic. But to the rest of the world, I'm either Black, or if they know I'm Hispanic, they just assume I'm Dominican. Or some people actually think I'm Jamaican. They've asked me if I'm Jamaican or from Trinidad. So I think it was, you know, they threw it in the pot and they stirred it up, and that was me. So
I mean, that's the thing with the diaspora. It's just the thing. Well, it's just the thing about being Black. Like, there's just so many. I mean, if you see both my parents, my mom can pass as white, and my dad is like super dark. He looks like almost like a black Indian of some type. And then you just never, and then you see my and I also two different colors. So the four of us is just, you know, a Benetton commercial. And it's just, you know, I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. It's just, it's an amazing thing. And I understand that the sometimes not necessarily fitting in, but it's the people who sometimes don't fit in, who can bring in the perspectives to make the title greater. Now, speaking of the title, we haven't seen you in a while. You're bringing your gear to Jamaica. Will you be bringing your gear to AEW soon? Just, you know, asking for a friend.
I always bring my gear.
Okay.
My gear is at AEW. I have multiple gears at AEW. I always bring gear. I'm always ready. You never know when you might pop up. So gotta stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? I always stay ready.
There it is. I look forward to the readiness. I look forward to seeing all the things at All Caribbean Wrestling this weekend. I look forward to your domination in AEW and all the things. You know, it's one of those things I love when you get to speak to somebody, especially like, you know, just talking about the fitting in part. That just makes me want to, not because let's also be honest, that people haven't figured out. I root for anyone Black. That's just how it is. But it's just like, I want more. Like, I want to see you more. I want to see the dominance. And I feel like the education part of it and educating people on who you are and your background and all the things just helps the world become better, because people might not have known. So yeah. I definitely, you know, wish you all the best. I hope you have an amazing time in Jamaica for me.
Thank you. I'll celebrate for you too.
I appreciate it. But if not, people are not following you, how can they follow you and how can they support?
They can follow me on Twitter. It's the THEE_red_velvet on Twitter. Instagram, it's LA_red velvet. Those are the main two I'm always on. I do have a couple stuff on YouTube and stuff, but mainly Instagram and Twitter is where I'm at. If you want a video, I do birthdays. I've been waiting for someone to have me break up with somebody. I'd do it in the nicest way possible. People think I'd be rude, but I would do it in the nicest way possible. But I do graduation videos. It's all on Cameo. You can book it on Cameo. I've done a couple birthdays for people. So Christmas is coming up too. You know, you want to gift your friend a gift. You know, they're a fan. I'll do it for them. Wish them a Merry Christmas, anniversary, whatever you guys want. You can book me on Cameo as well. Oh, and get my action figure. If you're on Target, get my action figure. If you don't want to go to Target, then go to Ringside Collectibles or shopaew.com. Get my shirts. Get my action figure, because when I pop up again, you're going to go looking for it, and it's not going to be around. It's already hard to find, but get your hands on it now, because don't say I didn't tell you so, you know.
I love all that. Y'all go and support, but I'm stuck on the break.
Oh, because I've seen some people that have, like, on their Cameo, they haven't known how to break up with their partner. So they've asked certain people, you know, sometimes maybe comedians or whatever, to break up with their partner. That's a terrible thing. I shouldn't say that. I think it'd be funny. But maybe it's not funny. So maybe I shouldn't say I want to do it. But, maybe it depends. If you want to break up with someone, like, I'm probably the person to do it, because then they'd laugh and they'd be my friend at the end and they'd forget all about the bad stuff, you know.
Okay.
And they probably didn't need that person anyway. So, you know.
There it is. One last question. And you said that you have multiple gear at AEW. It's not a question of if, it's when. And I know you're not going to, you know, I respect that, you know, the boundaries of that. But when it does happen, is there somebody in particular that you have your eye on in the women's locker room?
That's a tough one, because, like I said, I haven't been on AEW television for a while, and it's just given me a lot of time to reflect. And I think just coming, not if, when I come back, I just have a different mindset, and I'm a different person, and I'm a different wrestler. So I wouldn't want to single anyone out, because I want to wrestle everyone, because I just feel like I'm in a different mindset. I'm a different person. I'm a different athlete now. So even having wrestled the women I've already wrestled, I just feel like they're about to get the new me, and I don't think anybody's ready. But I have my eyes on a lot of people. I have my eyes on people that are in AEW. I have my eyes on people that are outside of AEW. I know that when I get back, like, it's my year. I'm coming for everything everyone said I couldn't have or didn't deserve. I'm coming for all of it. So I don't think people are ready, but I'm out here trying to be the best of the best. I want to elevate talent. I want to help the generations that are coming and leave, you know, my staple in the world of wrestling. And I don't just mean, hey, I want to come and be a champion. No, I want to help bring up girls. I want to help train other girls, because there's going to be a day where I'm not going to do it anymore. And I want to know that the wrestling world is being left behind great, amazing female wrestlers, and we're not going backwards. So I'm just ready to, yeah.
I look forward to it all. Again, y'all go and buy all her stuff. Somebody, please, just somebody. And you know, I love. I want relationships to stay. But if you need to break up the person, please book your girl, because I really want to see this cameo video of the breakup video. I'm just putting it out there. Make sure to book her, because I want to see it. So
and it could be a prank, guys. We can prank somebody. Let's not break anybody's actual heart. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if it's a prank you want to do, let's prank somebody. Why not?
There it is. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, can't wait to see you in Jamaica and all the things. Thank you guys so much for joining Women's Wrestling Talk. My name is TK Trinidad. You can find me on all the things at TK Trinidad. Make sure you follow Women's Wrestling Talk on all the things at WW Talk Pod. Follow our website at www.talkpod.com. Till next time, guys, thank you for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.